The twin, you add power slowly. Gears down, 2 notches of flaps, there you go. And so you get 57, 59 miles an hour. That should be able to rotate and gear up. Don't stall. Miles out. So you can see the runway. You can see the ground going by. Never get close. That's a tough approach here. The lights should show up on the runway pretty soon. Here we go. Oh, I can't stop. I made it, Chris.
You made it. You made it to the ground.
That's something. That is so realistic. This is where you do them all. And you can see how this shows how they're not bad even on a big screen. This is how it starts out. 1, 2, 3. My title in Vietnam was, they call it signal. You were a signal guy. It was photography. It was a division of the Army in Vietnam. In the division that we had, there were 9 photographers, and that's all they had. So you were assigned a job by the captain of the group, and you'd go out and you'd be on that assignment and try to get something newsworthy or human interest things to show that we were there for some good, not just everybody getting shot up. We were to show that the United States was there to help the people. I got done with a certificate of apprenticeship for photography, and 2-3 days later, I got a letter in the mail saying that you're drafted. I went to the courthouse and I knew the people there. The lady-in-law said, "No, they're not drafting you. You're too old and you've been married 3 years." She said, "Just forget it." The next thing I got was a letter to go in for a physical. And I went to her and said, "What are they doing here?" She said, just a normal routine, Gary, they'll send you home. So I went in with all these young guys. I was 24 years old, and these kids it was a big draft session at that time. These kids are 18 years old out of school. Then they take you in a room after a while, and they're sitting in a room, all these guys, and the captain of the Army comes in and says, the Marine is going to come in and pick who he wants for his troops for the Marines. And then he leaves and takes those guys out, and the Army guy comes in and says, the rest of you are in the Army. I go, wait a minute. I'm too old. I'm not supposed to be drafted. I'm going home tonight. So he went out of the room, and I'm falling apart there because all of a sudden I'm drafted. But I went home and I imagine I was tears and I said, "Honey, I'm drafted. I'm in the Army. I'll be gone for 2 years." Next morning I went to my boss. We had school photography printing to do. I said, "I quit." He said, "Why?" I said, "They just drafted me." He said, "They can't do that." I said, "You tell them I'm gone in 30 days and I got to get Carol settled someplace because I'll be gone for 30 days. I have no choice. You're not going to change it." So that's how I got drafted. So it was a big surprise to me at that age that get drafted that old, because I was married 3 years, but we didn't have kids, but they said it wouldn't have made a difference. But generally, if you had children, they'd probably hold you back. I got my certificate of apprenticeship program, and I got a draft notice the next day. I mean, they couldn't have timed it better because it took a while to state to get my certificate. In the meantime, the draft notice said, "Oh, this guy's free now. We're taking him." So I get the letters within a day of each other, and I can't believe it. But that's what happened to me about getting drafted. In photography, our job was to go out and do things that the Army wanted to show as part of a history. So they were going to teach us that if you were in Vietnam, you didn't want to get captured. And the way they would show that, they set up a mock prison camp, and they had a guy come in and teach you. They gave you supplies someplace in the prairie. They had the trail there for you. So we went into the base camp where they were where they captured him. First thing they did is took clothes off. You were stayed in your underwear, but they laid you in a mud hole. It was all wet with dead snakes and junk like that, all rats and stuff in there. And then if you came by and asked you a question, he'd take his foot and put your head down in the mud, because nobody can answer any question. They never knew anything. So then they'd take you in the basement and they'd sit you on a barrel, and you'd kneel on a barrel, and then he'd ask you questions. You couldn't answer anything, and they'd have a cattle prod. They'd stick them in the belly, and then they had a barrel they put over your head, an empty 55-gallon drum hung on a rope, and his hands were tied, and they'd ask him questions. He couldn't answer anything. So they had a big beam, and they'd hit the barrel. And then if he wouldn't answer questions, they'd take a M14 rifle with blanks in it, and they'd blow it off right next to the barrel. And and the guys, their legs are shaking. I've been going, I don't want to do this. I know I'm going to be, well, I'll do it. I'm going, I don't want to do this. And then at night, everybody had to stay. It was cold in the prairie. You stayed in your underwear in like a rabbit cage type thing. They're all barbed wire. Everybody was back to back. You were tucked in this cage at night. Well, I took a photo of that. That went back to the base because we turned our photo in every night. And the captain went to the general and said, this is going bad. They're going to kill some of our guys. So they shut down the camp, so I never had to go through it. But I filmed everything. We got to Vietnam, we landed, and they took us by small boats, and they loaded us on shore, and we go, what's this? And they loaded us on jeeps, we went on trucks, and we went out to wherever our base camp was through the dirt and the dust, and we had no idea what was going on. We carried 3 cameras. My camera's all taped up with masking tape, because in the Vietnam, the humidity, if you didn't put your camera in a little box with a bulb in it to keep it dry, your camera would be rusted, and the film would get very sticky. So everything had to be in a box to keep it dry. All the black and whites here, they were sent in on a roll, and we never knew what was good or bad, other than they'd send, we'd get a Stars and Stripes flyer, and they said, hey, you got your picture in there. Otherwise, we never knew where anything went, whether it was good or bad. Had no idea. So with black and white, and you never knew if you got a good shot. You were hoping if you got a good shot, it was good, because not like today, you can go look at it and say, hey, I better do it over. I mean, when you think about what we got for all this, it's pretty spectacular in a way, because you don't know what you're getting. You're just guessing. When you send the film in, you go like, oh, I got something. So you never saw anything until it was all done. Nowadays, you can go through and look at it. The motion picture guy was with me because I watched him at night and he watched me. He would sleep at night for a while. I'd stay awake, and then I'd sleep and he'd stay awake, because if they got up and moved during the night, we weren't part of a group. We always tried to stay close by because they would leave us. And when we went on a duty, they didn't like us, because they knew that if they're sending photographers and a motion picture guy, there's going to be something going on here. We're not just flying out to go out, take a little tour of the rice paddies. So they didn't really like us with. We were like a bad omen, like bringing an ambulance with. You were never going to walk on the dikes. You were walking the water all day, and you'd sleep on the dike at night in the water. So you were wet all the time. And they had special boots for that, but they didn't help a lot because your feet are wet all the time. And so then you're not supposed to be on the dike walking, and I was eating rations. I didn't want to walk in the water with my camera, and I fell in a punji stick hole. But I fell over the top of it, and the camera went in the water, and the guys hollered, Pipes is walking on a dike. The captain come back and said, what did you just do? I said, I'm crying. I said, my camera's in the water. I lost the camera. He said, you're on the dike. You know what you could have done if you fell in that punji stick hole? Look at the prod. What they did is they put dung manure on the prods and the sticks. Then when you fall in it, it'd puncture you, and then you'd get an infection. most of the time you were saved, but I fell over it. And I go, oh, I was lucky. And you couldn't trust anybody in the village because you never knew who was going to be carrying something. And you couldn't trust the kids outside the village because they'd have some explosives on them and they would blow them up. Not as bad as today, but in that time you couldn't trust anybody, that they would have explosives on them and they'd set them off. Basically, I wanted to show the people that what the life was really like over there, because no one realized what these people went through. One time they were taking a general through a tour in a Jeep, and I was in the village looking at things at the square, and he come by and he stopped the Jeep and he said, "Troop, what are you doing here?" I said, "I'm a combat photographer." He said, "Oh, okay, carry on." And the other guy said, "Doesn't he have a pass?" "He doesn't need a pass. He doesn't need one. He's doing a job." So I could roam anywhere I wanted, but basically I had assignments to do. The fact that I have an Army Commendation Medal was that I was a great water skier in my young days. I did a lot of trick skiing and did some shows. And when they went across the river, they went up to their neck in water and they got backpacks on. And these guys, they're scared of water. And then the lieutenant said, "You guys got to cross, you got to cross." Well, they had no way of carrying the backpacks across. They went down the water, and I said to the captain, "I'm a great swimmer. Water doesn't bother me now. I don't have a backpack. I'll put my camera down. I'll help these guys get across." So I helped all these guys get across. And then the captain awarded me a commendation medal for heroic action. But when we got across the river, the saddest thing in my life, the guy in front of me, he was married. Sorry. He was married. And they have claymores go off. And you're never supposed to walk close to somebody within 10 feet, because if he trips a claymore, he'll get shrapnel in his rear end, which won't hurt you. But the guy went across the river ahead of me. I just talked to him, and he hit him in the throat. He laid him on the dike, and the medic was trying to help him, and he couldn't help him. And I said, "The guy's not going to make it." First of all, one of the guys said, he's done. Just put him in a body bag." And the guy was dead right. I never got his name. I never knew him, never knew his name. And it still haunt me today that I'd like to talk to his wife. But he's gone. And they put him in a body bag. They call a helicopter, and they say, "Okay, you guys are going. You keep going on," because nobody could think about it. It's like, I'm emotional, but you couldn't think about it because you're in a daze, and you had to keep moving because they wouldn't let you think about it. We would catch them after we overrun an area, and we'd capture them. And then we couldn't tell if he was a Vietnamese sympathizer or if he was really a Viet Cong. After now, we realize these people were Vietnamese people, the North Vietnamese and the higher up people telling me the United States were bad. So they just believed that we were bad people, get us out of there. So they were just doing something they thought was good for them, which was bad for them because they were getting killed trying to do something they thought was good, which wasn't. So we blindfolded them, took them in, and if they had IDs, then they'd go through them, they'd interpret them, they'd give them to the Vietnamese people, and the Vietnamese would interpret them, and we were very good to them. The Vietnamese, we went with the Vietnamese colonel on a mission, and they caught some guys. You'll catch them, and they come in and give up, and they put them on the road, and a Vietnamese colonel came up behind the guy with his pistol on the back of the guy's head, and he's talking to Vietnamese, and the guy's shaking. I mean, can you imagine? You're so scared, you're shaking like that, and we're talking to him, put it down. There was one in Vietnam where the guy got on film, he shot the guy. Well, we talked the guy out of not shooting him. We talked him, begged him, do not shoot him, because he was good, and we didn't want to be there to witness that. We didn't know if he was bad. He was noted as a bad guy, but we don't know. He was going to shoot him. You say one thing wrong, Vietnamese people didn't horse around with you. We had a doctor, a medical doctor, and we had a Vietnamese doctor, and he would give all the kids shots. They all had to come in and get shots. All the parents would bring their kids in to get vaccinated and all that, and then the people also. And then there's pictures in the book where one picture I was taking a picture of the little girl was going, ah, and that's a cute picture of her being screaming and getting shot, because that's what we did. We wanted to show the United States, the Vietnamese, that we're doing some good over there. They had a hospital. We repainted the whole hospital, fixed it all up for them, so they had a hospital in the village, and we did all that for them. And there's one picture in the book, an old guy, I'm 81 now, but he to me, he was like, he had to be, to me, but he had 70 years old or older. He was watching us take pictures of this hospital. And so we did a lot of good for the village people.
Because of our position next to the village, we feel that we can get in here and do civic action work with the people and thereby reach most of the people in the district. What we try to do mainly is create projects for these people in coordination with the district and village officials that are going to be, number one, long-lasting, and number two, projects in which the people are going to derive a lasting benefit.
What you see on TV that time was all the shooting and all the massacring stuff. They never showed the people. They never let the United States people know that there were people over there we're protecting. I wanted to show at home that there were real people there, and that we had friends over there. They liked us, and I wanted to show what the people were like, what their lives were like, how hard they had it, and how easy we had it at home. The chaplain lived next door to us, and his assistant was with us, and I went to church quite a bit because I got to know the chaplain real well. And I get emotional, but in church, I sing. The chaplain always say, Gary, what hymn you want to say? I want the Old Rugged Cross. And a couple months ago, the church said the Old Rugged Cross, and I fell apart. I went back in time. I went all the way back. I did it twice. I told the Pastor Amy, I said, you head home to me. I said, that was my hymn in the chapel. Because a lot of guys were really religious over there because you had nothing else to look forward to. Because you hoped that God would take care of you. And out there, you prayed a lot because you go like, I hope God takes care of me, because who else is going to do it? You had to have faith that you were going to make it. And I think we had God going for us. I don't care what you say, because in all the helicopter crashes I had in civilian life and airplanes I took down, God said my wife's going to stick with me the rest of her life. She's not going to get by without me. So we've been married 61 years. So I think God gave me a chance to come home, to pass this story on. Yeah. I don't know how I can do that with this.
I'll give you a hug with his jelly. This arm doesn't work very well.
Nope, it's swelling up a little bit, but it's
Yeah,
okay.
we should get that.
I think
ice
as a
thing
photographer,
off.
well, it's brained into you that the only history you have is you can talk about it. Somebody walks away, they forget about it. But as a photographer, when I got home, I was in Brownton, and I went to a lot of the meetings with ladies and men and people, and I had a slide program, and I would show them the pictures of the people I had basically a slide program. I have slides left. That's how I got these pictures. So I'd have a slide projector, and I'd go to the meeting and explain to them about Vietnam, what it was like over there. So that's why I felt that I have all these pictures. Where are they going to go when I'm gone? That we can't lose that history. I want them to see what went on. I think they need to know what us guys went through. The World War II guys in Korea, they don't know what they went through. They have a museum thing in Washington, D.C., but they don't have any real good pictures of showing what they do. All I can do is show that there's people there. Who cares about the combat? Everybody can combat, but I wanted to show that there are really people there, that were people living there that we should have protected. And that's just one village. That's just one village. Look at Saigon. Look at all that. I just feel that it's important to show that I lived this, I made it through it, and I'm happy that I made it. I want to show you that I'm happy to be alive and showing it. Sorry. I didn't want to go. I did not want to go. I didn't go to Canada, but I have to go because this is important. I'm going for it. And now I'm proud that everyone has a freedom. They don't know what freedom we have if we hadn't gone and fought for ourselves, whether it's Japan or any other place. My book, I want to go on forever and ever and ever to say, yeah, it's history. And I think the thing that's so popular now is because we were forgotten coming back from Vietnam. We were bad guys. When we came back to San Francisco and even Hawaii, they did not like us. We were basically taboo people. They go like, you guys are nasty. You don't deserve to be here. But we just live with it. You go, and now it's hard to take the attention. I feel guilty, but I wear my hat only because I get to meet a veteran. Every time I get to meet a veteran, I carry my USBs with. I go, here's a card for you want to look at the book. And the guys tell me their history of what they did and all that. And it's you get to hear their story. Nothing until the last few years. Didn't mean anything until they started recognizing us. I felt guilty at first. I didn't want it till I realized Julie said, my daughter Julie, let's do a book, Dad. You got so much history here. It wouldn't be for her, I wouldn't have the book. I have a hard time trying to sell somebody the book. I want them to have the book if I give them for free, so I decided Julie was not really in favor of me doing this. She said, Dad, they can copy anything they want. I said, Julie, let them copy it. I don't really care. If they think that picture's important, they want to hang it on the wall, hang it on the wall. What if they sell them? I don't really care. So I took them on a USB card, and I started making them, and I started handing them out. I have 495 photos that I didn't put in the book.
It's at this, so many years have gone by, it seems like a different lifetime. You know, it's hard to imagine that he was there when you see all of this stuff and what he went through. And it's, like it's a different lifetime. So much time has gone by, it's hard to believe. Hard.
Life can be short and enjoy every day because you don't know what tomorrow is going to happen. And all those guys over there the same way. You live today and then tomorrow you go out and I hope and pray I come back tonight. I think every day was important. We don't think of it today because you go, oh, tomorrow's tomorrow. But when you're there, the existence of life is daily. I mean, it might even be during the night if they murder you. So every day you woke up, you go like, I'm alive today. Can I make it tomorrow? And all of us guys had calendars with squares in them, like 365 days. So we crossed out a square every day. So then when you got the thing almost filled, you go, I'm getting home. Because every day your goal was to put another square, color another square. Because that meant you were here today. And the next day you'd say, I hope I can color one in. I want them to know that there were some good people over there that we were trying to help. I mean, I want them to say, we did some good over there for some people. We were fighting for those people. It wasn't just blood and guts and things like that. We were doing something good over there, we thought.
This program is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.